Okay, morning guys, welcome to day 5 of week 4 of the Guildford City Fitness live stream. Make sure you still got all the scores you need to put in for the endurance testing and the jump testing if you haven't done them already, just so we know where everyone's at. And again, I've had a few messages from people. Don't worry so much about the standards in terms of what you should be hitting, because for now it's literally just about you having a benchmark for yourself. So if people in your squad have got more, if people in the world in different sports have more, if people that are the same age have more, it doesn't matter. Just get your scores, make sure you know them so that you can have a go at looking in a few more weeks to see if you've improved. That's all they're for. So we're going back to warm-up number 1 for today's session. So we're going to start with dorsal press into sit back, and we're just going to do 6 reps of everything with the 20-second jog every 2. So dorsal press, other way. So then before you start, make sure your warm-up area is clear and that you're not going to hit yourself in anything as you go through. And as always, make sure you've got a drink nearby, because today's session's not as aerobic as yesterday's and Wednesday's, but you're still going to need it. Okay, then to thread the needle. So again, 6 on each side. Again, hitting one side before you switch over, so you can start to feel the improvement by the end of the set. And again, just making sure that if you can, do it against the wall. If you think you need to, just to make sure that you don't lean across. Which I'm very tempted to do on this side. So 6 on each, and then up into jogging on the spot. 3, 2, 1, go. Again, if you want to mix that up, remember you've got the stroke style skips as well, just something to break up the monotony, and then stop. And we're going into walkouts. So again, space out in front of you, just regular walkouts today. Into press up plank, make sure you hold your core without dropping to the end. And try and sink down lower after each one. But make sure that as you do, you keep your knees straight rather than doing that and sinking into a squat. Okay, then into leg swings. So front and back and side to side on each leg before you switch. 6 reps. Side to side. And again with side to side, to make sure that your hips don't change direction. Let's go over here. Because doing that doesn't really give you mobility, any help with your mobility, so all that range there. Okay, IYTW. After you've done your skipping. So skipping again in 3, 2, 1, go. So again, just a reminder of what they look like. So backstroke skipping would be that. Breaststroke skipping is just star jumps. Flies backwards and forwards. And then freestyle would just be normal skipping. And relax. Then you're going to go IYTW. So 3 in each position, elbows and wrists behind your nose and your eyes the whole time. We need a new door. Again, 2 seconds out, 1 second back. And then skep press to finish off for 1 minute of jogging. You're going to try and make sure you get no movement from the middle of your back down to your pelvis. And remember to try and pull with using the muscles on the front of your ribs. It's not as obvious as when you squeeze other muscles, but if you know you're there and you try and picture it, you'll get more activation out of them. Okay, so 1 minute jogging then, finish off the warm up in 3, 2, 1, go. I'm just going to throw in a couple of high knee sprints to get your heart rate a bit higher. So 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, and then again in 3, 2, 1, go. So we're just going to have 4 of those within a minute. Second to last one in 2, 1, go. And finish off 2, 1, go. Then relax. Grab a drink, I'll talk through part 1. So table for the inverted rows today. Everything else you can do on the floor, as long as you have a mat. And part 1 is whole body themed. So you're going to start with 45 seconds of dead bugs. So on your back, preferably double if you're watching this video. But I guess make sure that if you go from this, that even by the last rep, you can't get any daylight between your lower back and the floor. Push it in hard. Pike press ups. So these are a little bit more challenging. It's a bit easier if you do lift your feet up a bit higher, but you're going to basically go into a bit of a downward dog position from your press up plank, and then do a push up from there. So the idea is, if you put your hands down on the ground, imagine you're making drawing a triangle on the ground. That's where you want your head to go. So if you watch me from the side, your head's kind of going backwards and forwards diagonally. So from here, you're not going up and down, you're going diagonally forward as you push, as long as your back stays straight and your hips are high. I'll go through alternatives in the middle of the set if you're unsure. Inverted row. So yeah, people should be feeling pretty confident with these now after doing the test on them. So feet where you need them to be, no matter how bent or straight they are, as long as you keep that constant tempo. As you go up, try not to touch the ground until the end of the set, and then finish off the round with Superman plank. So if you were doing alternating Supermans earlier in the week, now you want to try and just hold that position for 20 seconds before we switch. So last chance to get a drink. I'll talk through them all again as we do them. We're going to go in 10 seconds time. So in 3, 2, 1, let's go. So again, always start with double dead bugs. It's a slow, controlled out phase, then return to normal. Actually makes it more challenging if you hold at the end position before you come back. And again, if you start to feel any sort of pressure or discomfort above your pelvis, then switch into single arm and leg. Just without skipping a beat. Just one rep becomes that, and the next one becomes single arm, single leg. Relax. Okay, into your pike press ups. In 3, 2, 1, go. So again, your setup is press up plank, downward dog, then from downward dog, that's when you push down, back up. If you're struggling with that, I'd maybe try and do Hindu push-ups. So I'll be done week before last. So into downward dog. You go down towards the floor, up into a dorsal press, and then reverse it, back into downward dog. Then relax. So I guess it means you've got more range at your shoulder, more work being done there. So rest your chest and triceps a little bit. We're still learning a new skill. Into inverted row. In 3, 2, 1. Let's go. So if you can, try and make sure that you're holding that top position, so up, chest on the bar or the table, whatever you're using, for a second. And control descent. Up quick, pause, down slow, and then relax there. Finish off with Superman plank. So again, if you're feeling adventurous or you're confident with your technique, 3, 2, 1, go. So everybody, regardless of what level they're at, should be trying, should be able to do that one. You should notice be holding this. Again, foot, pull your toes towards your head. Try and get a bit more hip engagement. Try and keep your wrist above the top of your head, facing the floor. And switch sides if you haven't. Or you can try to do that single arm and leg like the other day. It's a couple of seconds. And then switch over. Main priority is if you do that, you get no movement at the lower back. So relax. That's the end of round 1. So again, with that single arm and leg, straight arm Superman, there's no point doing it if you get into position, your trunk rolls all over the place, and you start to arch your back. Just aim to push your hand down and then squeeze your heel hard so your hips stay steady, gives you that stability. So we're back into dead bugs. In 3, 2, 1, go. So again, for 45 seconds, if you think about treating each rep as a 6-second rep, you do less of them, but the demand on your trunk to stay stable goes way up. How many is that? 10 would be a minute. So you're talking like 8 repetitions. So if I said do 8 dead bugs, people wouldn't think it was that bad. Relax there. Then you're going to go into plank press ups. In 3, 2, 1, go.
So as long as your back is straight, this is supposed to be a middle ground between a press up and a handstand press up. So again, when you push, make sure you're pushing diagonally, so your hands are going away from you almost. You've got 15 seconds left, straight back. And if you do struggle, just control that falling part. Relax and go back into a downward dog. Stop there. Just get your table ready. And then go in 3, 2, 1, go. And the same idea with the inverted rows. If you control yourself, you're only probably doing about 10 to 12 reps. Hold the bottom. So your back muscles are working the whole time. Just make sure your hips stay up high. So as you're doing it, heels into the ground. Deep breath before you pull. Get all of your core organised. Again, makes it a lot easier. And relax. Okay, then finish off with Supermans again. So Superman plank to finish up round 2. In 2, 1, go. So again, if you are going for straight arm and straight leg, a bit easier if your back foot's stable. And if your front hand comes out in front of you a little bit, let's go with press up plank. Just start playing around with it. So hand and feet away. Switch sides. So again, back foot stable so it doesn't slip. Into press up plank. Just try and take one hand and one foot away, but stay stable. Finish in 3, 2, 1, relax. So, another drink, one more round to go. Don't spill your drink everywhere. 15 seconds. So again, just get ready to go back into dead bugs. Down on the ground, starting again in 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, your both sides clicking there. Again, breath control is very important here. So take a deep breath at the start. And then breathe out again at the top. So it means you're holding as much tension in your core as is necessary to do it well. So deep breath at the top, hold it as you extend, and then breathe out once you're back to the beginning. Relax. And pike push-ups to finish the first half of round 3. So 5 seconds to get ready. In 2, 1, go. So again, if you're doing Hindu push-ups instead, because again, it just helps you transition from normal into those pike ones because of the work at the shoulder. Go from downward dog into dorsal press. So there. Down to the floor, then reverse it. As you do it, try and stay off the floor. So if you imagine you had spikes or an open fire below your face, something that just makes you want to stay away from the ground. So there. Ugh, bit of extreme cue, but that's the kind of intent you want to have when you're in this position to drive you out to the next one. So relax there. inverted row. In 3, 2, 1, go. And then same thing with what's below you on the inverted row. So up, just before you hit the ground, back up. So it means you're keeping constant tension on your back muscles. If that's too easy, move your feet further away. It's basically like adding weight to the bar. Should feel a bit harder. If you start to struggle to hit the top, bring them back in towards you and then relax. So we'll finish off part one with Superman plank again. Like that. In 3, 2, 1, go. So you can set your legs up first and then move your hand out. Because the most common thing, if I'm walking around poolside, we just start walking around pushing heels down. Because people either don't concentrate or they forget. But when you do look at yourself, you want to make sure that heel is no higher than your hip. And then push your toes out. That there gives you more hip activation, which is the priority here. Taking your hand away doesn't really do much, but increase the stability demand of the movement. So your left shoulder has to work harder and your left hip has to work harder to keep your core steady, and then you can switch sides. Again, start trying to think about whether one side feels easier than the other, and straight away this one feels a lot more comfortable for me. And then relax. So a minute and a half break. I'll talk through round part two, which is going to be movement skill based. So, but it's core work, but it's less static. So there's more movement involved. You've got streamline crunch, press up plank march, flutter kick, and then aeroplanes. So I've definitely done these at one point this week. But very quickly. So streamline crunch, obviously, feet on the ground, hands overhead, pull yourself up. So your stomach gets very small and tight. Back down, try not to touch the ground before you go again. Keep your hands behind your head. Down, press up plank march. Just press up plank, but you're switching your feet over. And no real speed on it, but just constant control over your limb. Flutter kicks onto your back. Bring it back into the floor. Toes pointed. And then try and think about the kind of beat you'll maintain on leg kick. As long as your lower back stays into the ground. If you do arch, bring them closer. And then aeroplane. So after all that core work, you're then going to try and maintain some single leg stability. So you go single leg RDL type position. I'm going to go this way so you can see what I'm doing here. So you go single leg RDL. Once you get to the bottom, you then turn your hip up to the ceiling, like that, and go back, and you're going to stay there 20 seconds, do that as many times as you can, and then switch over. So the idea was trying to really challenge the hip stability, your hip stability by conditioning some of those muscles around it to unlock a bit more range of motion. I'll explain a bit more when we get to it. So you've got streamline crunch. We're going to start together. In 3, 2, 1, and go. So again, deep breath before you start. Breathe out as you go down. Try and stay off the floor the whole time, but make sure all the work comes from your abs pulling you up rather than swinging your hands. To get as many reps done as you can, 15 seconds left. 2-second hold at the top. Back down. Try and go down slow so you're controlling that portion of the movement there. And then relax. Okay, then you're into flat kicks third. Press up plank march. Okay, 5 seconds. And then 3, 2, 1, go. So make sure that your wrist is under your shoulder directly. And again, you don't have to get a massive lift on this, it's just enough. If you bring your toes up off the floor, it's going to make it less stable for your body to hold a position. To make sure you sync up your breathing, so I'd go deep breath, up, breathe out, and then switch. So. And relax. It seems like a bit much, but the more you can control your breath, the easier it becomes to manifest that movement. Flutter kicks are next. In 3, 2, 1, go. So going big demand here. I'm trying to make sure your lower back doesn't bend. So if you get tired, your belly button will rise up. If that happens, it becomes less of a flutter kick and more of like a leg crossover. So as long as you're still doing this, you're lifting your knee up and down, you're still using your core, but you're teaching it not to arch. Obviously the slower you do it, the more tension you can maintain, the more you'll adapt and improve. Again, even then you start to feel your back start to hurt, just take 5 seconds off. Try and get like 4 kicks done. Relax. Now, much easier if you don't talk, because you can keep this tight and you'll feel less pain appear elsewhere. Then you're into aeroplanes. 2, 1, go. Think if you have a wall, use that for support. So if you're learning them, go into that single leg RDO and start to turn yourself up and down. So if you imagine pushing the other side of your hip up, and then when you get there, pull it down, switch sides. So from here, that's what I hate doing, it's a lot less comfortable. Go down, find that bone, push it up, pull it down again, and then pull it down again. A little break. Again, the idea is it's supposed to be quite a simple movement, because you've done 3 others before it, it becomes a lot more challenging to stay stable. And the main thing, if you can't get all the way down comfortably, just go to where you are comfortable. So if you get to about here, you can still do that hip turn. But we're back into streamline crunch in 3, 2, 1, go. And even just to increase that challenge, guys, try and pull a little bit harder, a little bit further every time. But you don't have to try and aim to get to a full sit-up, because with that movement, it's a lot faster. So it's a lot more work being done in a short time frame. So you've actually got less tension on here. And what you want to do with a crunch is try and keep your back stable and get really tight here. Because all the tension, all that force production is what's going to make your core stronger. 2, 1, relax. When you do a full sit-up, like up here, you're not actually doing all that much. Which is why we have to do both. So then you're going to go press up plank march. In 2, 1, go. Again, breath control is paramount here. So if you want to put something on your lower back, just to guarantee that you're not kicking over kicking, like this. So if I went to go really high, it starts to change your lower back position, which then takes all that tension away from your core where you want it. If you want to do less kicks, just hold for longer, so it's more like a single leg plank, and relax into flutter kick. In 3, 2, 1, go. So start as you need to go on. I can personally find it a bit easier if I bring my head up a little bit, if I relax. It just makes my back want to arch. So shoulders up and chin's height. With your toes pointed. And as soon as your back starts to change, relax for 1 or maybe 2 seconds. Again, we're going slow and controlled. If your back starts to hurt, wait for maybe 3 seconds and just go back into it. And then relax. Then finish off with aeroplanes. In 3, 2, 1, go. Go for feedback. Use mirrors if you've got them, so that I'm more confident on this side. So to there. I'm going to show myself up now. And as well, if you want to put your hand just in front of your leg, make sure your shoulder stays there for a bit more balance. Switch sides. So it gives you something to aim for. To get into that position, shoulders there. Oh. Hips come up. If you do manage to get there, just hold it. If you're still struggling, so your body learns how to find that position, knows what it looks like, and then relax. If you can though, try not to collapse out of it. So if you go here, up, and you start to wobble, bring it down slowly. And again, just that conversation between your body and your brain becomes a bit clearer, and it gets easier to again, pull off that movement. So 10 seconds left of the session, of the rest, or before we finish the session, in streamline crunch. 3, 2, 1, go. So if you wanted to challenge that eccentric bit, so that going down without any equipment will help build that strength some more, you could go for a streamline sit-up, but make the focus falling down as slow as you can. Ugh. And then back up. So if you try and take as long as you can, the fall down is no way to do that with a straight face. As you go out of streamline again, hold in there. This position here is very hard. I'm shaking like mad. Ugh. And back down. It's different to pulling and trying to make yourself small, but it's very hard for the muscles that you're trying to hit. Relax. So maybe throw that into your repertoire, like eccentric sit-up in streamline. So 3, 2, 1, into press-up plank march. And if you are doing it for holds, don't make it too long, because then it becomes more of a single leg plank. But the point of the march is that you're trying to work on your pelvic stability. So rather than going like this, if you take too many contacts, it takes the focus away. So just go for a uniform, maybe like 1 second up, 1 second down. You just want to maybe minimize how long you spend on 2 feet. So 1, into 1, and relax. Flutter kick. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. No, that's a dead bug.
I was going to say, I thought you were doing flutter kicks.
In round 3, so if round 1 and 2 went really well, and you just have to find your compromising form in round 3, this is when it's almost more important to make those amendments. Because if you start doing garbage reps in 3 where you're like this and holding on, you're not going to learn and adapt to the first 2 good rounds. It's better to almost treat it as 2 rounds of flutter kick and then 1 round of leg crossovers and relax. And finish off with airplanes. So you're over the hill now. 3, 2, 1, go. Over the hump, sorry, over the hills when you're like done, isn't it? So now I'm going to focus on this side. I'll tell you when to switch. But this one's less confident for me. I do find personally when I use my other hand as a guide, it's easier to try and create the movement that you want. The switch sides, if you didn't already. Oh no. And control down. So like I said, that controlling down instead of collapsing is what's going to help give you those that a little bit longer doing each part. So if you only get this far, that's fine. Just make sure that it's you that's doing all the work, not gravity. And then relax. So that's it for session 5. Grab a drink, we'll start the cool down. So left leg, again based on the lower body what we did yesterday, you might find that your quads are a bit worse for wear still today, but again important just to make sure you're still doing the same amount of work after each session. Even if you have your own routine, I just run this for people that have no equipment. If I wasn't filming, I'd be on the foam roller instead. Because in terms of strength adaptation, it interferes less. So you get more neuromuscular stimulation and a more of a relaxation effect. In terms of how your body starts to begin that transition. So 30 seconds on each side. I know a few people that say they feel too loose, so this is more related to not recovery stretching but just stretching in general. If you take a one-size-fits-all approach, if you're the kind of person that feels too loose, so if like say sprinters before competition, if you want to feel some sort of tension in your body, so I'm not talking about tight muscles, I'm talking about like general tension, you might find that foam rolling in your pre-race preparation is better for you. Because again, you're going to get a little bit of, I guess technically, some sort of activation. It's quite an active routine. If you're doing it right, like, there's no way you can lie on a foam roller and just kind of relax, because they just do nothing for you. Okay, so 30 seconds on each side. Again, much better for you than just doing 2 legs, because it doesn't tell you as much about what you need. Into hip stretch, we'll go pigeon. And I'll face the camera. So ankle on the ground first, and then let your knee fall down to where it's comfortable. So if you get to here and it starts to hurt, just leave it there. Make sure your hips are level. And as you feel more comfortable, then you can start to sink down. Just make sure that you're straight on. And just stay straight on. You'll increase the stretch if you relax down this way, but it's only worth it if it feels natural, don't force it. Okay, and then switch sides. Do an ankle. Go down until it feels comfortable. This side just feels way more comfortable for me. But as soon as I did that, my ankle dropped back, all the stretch comes away. So it's better to hold it there. Maybe you'll put your hand over your foot as a guide and just wait and breathe. Then relax. That's hips. So now you're onto lats. Okay, so sort of like a downward dog position again. The closer your hands are together, the more stretch you get. And then make sure you twist. So I'm going to change my mind on the advice I gave where I said level it, because it is different parts. So if you go here and twist, upper body twist gives you more stretch high up. Hip shift gives you more stretch along the full length of the muscle, mainly the middle. And relax, switch sides. And you've also got angry cat. So try and lift your shoulders up. And of course pushing down. So if you do the stretch and then you try and pull your hand through the table and relax off, you might find that you get more range. It's a similar idea to the hamstring bridge stretch we used to do for hamstrings. So stretch, press and squeeze, and then re-stretch. You might find that you've alleviated some of that tension. You can get a bigger range of motion. And chest to finish off. I'm going to remember to cover today's challenge, so I'll have to do a second video. Again, one thing I will reiterate, concentrate on breathing for these stretches instead of watching the clock. Those are loud cartoony type breaths, but you might find that when you breathe out you just get more range and a bigger stretch without having to push it. So that's actually a good sign that your body is starting to relax and recover. So if you do all this deep breathing and then you get more tense, you probably need to go and have a lie down. So if you just watch how low I can get, it's a combination of gravity / my chest relaxing that gets me lower rather than me pulling into position. Just pulling into position does nothing. You don't earn it, and you just go back to the way you were before you start pulling. So that'll do for cool down. Other things to start considering for you would be things like ankles. Some of the running you've been doing. So if you put toes on the ground, if I do it from behind, so facing this way, toes on the ground behind you, turn them to the side and start to push forward. There's this view as well. So all you're doing is trying to get your shin bone in front of your toes as far away from them as you can. Gives you a bit of a stretch down here to work with ankle mobility, and then neck. So neck we haven't done for a while. But again, it takes concentration. So sit normally, so you're not slouching. If you want to try and walk on your left side, you put your hand over your head and just relax. So again, you don't pull with these sorts of things. So you're not just trying to yank your ear down to your shoulder, and you're not trying to lift your shoulder to your ear, 'cause it's cheating. So sit normally and just breathe, same thing again. If you want to make it a bit easier, while you're doing that and you're on a table, use your left hand to try and pull your shoulder down. So hopefully you can see that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so if you hold your head there, or just tilt it to the side, and then try and pull this arm down with your knuckles, you'll get a big stretch along here as well. Which again, just to start thinking and checking whether you can turn your nose. So the ideal situation would be chest facing forward, and be able to turn your head and get your nose pointing along your shoulder. Which I could never do anyway, but you guys kind of have to be able to. So think about it. Today's challenge is a lot easier than Saturday's. I'm going to cover all of them so you know what you're doing throughout the week and I don't get questions about it. Okay, so number 5 is the commitment challenge today. So it's more movement skill based. If you go to spend 30 minutes trying to develop either a headstand, a handstand, or a walking handstand, So it's almost like level 1, 2 and 3. So all the frog stands that I've been doing on the younger people's videos, it's more of a question of how good you want to be in terms of your athleticism. So I think you'd struggle to look at someone doing a walking handstand and not think they have some degree of athleticism about them. It's a bit of a weird term because it depends on the context when you compete, but if you can do these things, you've got a good understanding of how to get your body to do stuff, which can only be good for you, because if you can do a headstand or a handstand, it just means you've got a better awareness of your body, which makes technical feedback better to put into practice. So if you think about that in terms of your swimming, if you're the kind of person that struggles with your coach saying, try this, and you think you're doing it, but it's not quite there, working on these kind of skills will just start to develop your brain in isolation to help you get better at learning new skills. So I'm only pretty much on the headstand point of things. Hands down on the ground, knees behind, elbows, and then make a triangle with your head. So this is where the pike push-ups come in handy. Ooh. Not feeling a headstand today, but then you would push your feet into the air. If you look online, there's a couple of good resources to try and teach you regressions, but the more you practice that, people probably remember when I started doing frog stands this way, and start trying to get Cantier to learn them, you've got to start somewhere. So spend 30 minutes developing one that you can't do. Just make sure you've got someone in the room with you, because I'm not a qualified gymnastics coach. So this is me trying to pull together something that'd be useful, but make sure everyone stays safe. Area has to be clear, someone has to be watching you. So if you haven't got someone to supervise you, don't do it. Maybe just go for one of the aerobic sessions, or repeat one of the other challenges. Then tomorrow's one on support, you've got a volume time challenge, but instead of saying pick an order, you've got to do it in this order this time. So you've got 100 pull-ups or rows, 100 push-ups, 100 squats, and a 1 mile run. The time you run after doing all that stuff. And the idea is, we want to see how people compare to each other with this one. As a club, just out of interest. But for you, don't worry about whether someone's beating you or if you're behind someone else. Just take your time and run with it. I've put it on Saturday and made Sunday a little bit easier, just so you can recover ready for Monday's one again. And Sunday, it's another endurance test, but it's all just core. So left side plank, right side plank, and forearm plank. Don't need the metronome, just time, see how long you can last. And as much as you've got a hard week of training behind you, again, it's just about benchmarking. So when you repeat this test, we'd make sure that you've had a hard week again. Doesn't matter. It's just about seeing where you stand for now. So make sure you record all those things, so you have a record of them. That's going to be it from me. Any questions, as always, put in the comments or message me. And from everyone at Guildford City, thanks for watching, and hope you all have a great day.